Hey everyone, Dan here. Before we get into it, if you enjoy these videos, please hit the like and subscribe button. And keep in mind that these are my own thoughts, opinions, and ideas. These are not meant to be, nor should you take them as investment or trading advice in any way, shape, or form. Do your own due diligence, put in the work for yourself, and make your decisions based on that. Enjoy.
All right, folks, here we are on Thursday, March 7th. We're going to take a look at Docusign today. So with earnings coming up, I thought we would come and see where Docusign might hit some support or resistance, whether it booms or busts, and of course, what levels it might sort of hug if it does move relatively sideways. Now, right now, it's situated about $54. The nearest in levels that I have on the chart are 52.01 to the downside and 55.86 to the upside. So there's a decent percentage in that range. But if it does move relatively sideways, I'd maybe look for it to either sort of settle in between those levels or pin itself to one or the other. Now, if it does have a more outsized reaction, if it does sell off down here at 46.80, 44.40, and then there is this gap / support level that would get into at about 42.17. It would fill it at about 41.42, and then 39.96, 38.95. There are some more granular levels in there, like there's certainly a level here around $49. I didn't want to put in too many. I felt like it was getting kind of cluttered with all the levels down here, so just know if it does dip to like 49, there's probably a level there, but I didn't want to clutter the chart too much. So if it does push to the upside and gets through 55.86, 59.88, 65.66 look like potential levels to me. And then, again, there's certainly something here around, say, 69. But there is also then a gap that it would not quite fully filled, right? You see, this wasn't the initiation of the gap, but it partially filled it. It will get into that at about 77.19, and it would fill it at about 87.36. So we'll see if any of these come into play, or how the market reacts to the actual report itself. Now, on the think or swim side of things, we see this recent push. It was up out of the channel for a while, came back, tested the mid-range, pushed back out of the channel, and then on the re-entry, tested the mid-range again, but fell through immediately, and then it was out to the bottom of the channel. So already a lot of volatility coming in the sort of recent weeks and months, ahead of earnings. So we'll see if, how that volatility plays. Is that going to sort of spike it for earnings? Is that going to sort of cool it off for earnings because it already experienced all this volatility? We'll have to see. And of course, what's actually in the report itself will play an important factor, not to brush over that too much. But it is at the moment pinned to the mid-range of the channel, so it's back there again. So again, out of the channel, test. That's always what we look for. Out of the channel, what does it do when it tests the mid-range of the channel? Pushed off again, failed here, was outside of the channel again. So again, what do we look for? We look for it to come test the mid-range of the channel. It did that relatively quickly. Brief push down, but found support on the lower mid-range of the channel, and now is back to the mid-range, trying to provide another push. So we'll see how that sort of takes shape and where it goes from there. But right now, the histogram straight at the baseline, so it has sort of full exhaustive energy as far as the histogram goes to fly or die. But yeah, it is right at the baseline right now, and we have this very brief trigger and fire. Don't know that that'll be much of anything. That wouldn't just have to do with earnings anyway, so we'll keep an eye on it, but that's not the most impressive sort of call out by the GTM squeeze indicator. Something more back here, this was a much better call out. Lengthier trigger, and then a fire, and then that's when it blew up out of the channel. So we'll see how these levels hold up and where it goes based on the sentiment of the market, and of course, like I said, the nuts and bolts of the actual report itself. All right, folks, I hope that your trading week has been going well, and as always, I appreciate you watching, and I will see you in the next video.